Alright everybody, welcome back to the Corsair Gaming Summer Tournament. This time I've got it right, that's the name of the tournament. We're not the Corsair Cup, we're not the Corsair Summer Tournament, it's the Corsair Gaming Summer Tournament. $10,000 up for grabs between 16 of the Western's best. We've got teams from Europe, teams from America, and right now we are in the Russian group of death. It's RoX.KiS, NEXT.kz, Virtus Pro, and IC Cup fighting over 2 playoff spots. Only 2 are going to advance. VP have already lost to IC Cup, so they're awaiting the loser of this match in the loser bracket final of our 4-team GSL style group. But right now, NEXT.kz are down again against RoX.KiS. They're looking to bounce back, but they didn't look too solid in game 1. I'm Gods from Beyond the Summit. Joining me is LD, who I hope is set up there. How are you doing, LD?
I hope I'm set up as well. Everything sounded okay. I am realizing by the second just how hard Kawa's job is. I'm trying to do Kawa's job as well as mine. I've got my work cut out for me. What could I say?
As much as we want to fire him sometimes, we can't do it, LD. He's too important.
That bastard. He wants to do things like sleep and go to MLG. Unacceptable, dare I say it. No, he's been doing a fantastic job, but the draft going pretty quickly. We actually did this draft about 20 seconds after the draft began. They have just been, it's like speed chess. They're just rushing through these picks.
Yep. Rushing through things here. This time around, Lifestealer gets banned up by NEXT.kz. I like the little adjustment, although RoX.KiS, of course, have backups. It's the Gyrocopter, of course. Gyrocopter will easily fill in Lifestealer's shoes. They get the Darkseid for the offlane. They have a Shadow Demon. Over on NEXT.kz side's Visage, they take the puck and a Nyx Assassin pick. I like the Visage, the hero who's had a lot of success recently, and I think all in all, this is a draft more suited to the current metagame.
Yeah, it's suited to the current metagame. I guess the question is it suited to NEXT.kz? Are they adaptable, or are they just changing their draft but not really prepared to execute it? Because RoX.KiS has been an aggressive team since their formation. Dread is an aggressive player. This guy was picking Axe against Dignitas and crushing them. Beat them in 25 minutes in the We Play group stages. So RoX.KiS, they're very comfortable in an aggressive game. Is NEXT.kz? I think we're about to find out, and I'm curious to see how they do.
Yeah, the one here I thought that could have been a nice substitute for a hard carry, something like a Weaver for them. I think it could still fit their style, have someone like Mantis playing a Weaver, but that's been banned out, so they'll have to look for other alternatives. We've been seeing a lot of Alchemists lately. If they want to go for a hard carry that sort of fits currently with these aggressive lanes that you need, put them with a Visage, Nyx Assassin, and a Tri-Lane. Puck, of course, most likely going to be in the mid lane. Next go Spectre, so this is a hero which I think does also fit quite nicely.
Wow, yeah, the Spectre, and I think it's key that they got the Visage early, and we've seen this a lot, actually in Asian Dota gods, where if you go Spectre and you go it in the first 2 picks, the win rate is abysmal, because teams just have their entire draft ready to counterpick you. They usually ban out all the strong tri-lane heroes so that you're left with a weak Spectre who needs a lot of help, doesn't have the requisite help, and then things fall apart. But NEXT.kz, they've got pretty strong laning supports from the Visage, the Nyx, a suitable solo mid who's going to be hard to bring down. If you can coil heroes, they want to run away. The problem is if they do that, then they take desolate damage. I like the synergy for this NEXT.kz team a lot, and overall, I just feel it's a lineup that has multiple heroes who can make plays. Spectre can actually find kills fairly early if he gets a hunt off at the right moment. Nyx obviously can hunt supports, and Puck can do a lot of work. Even Visage has burst. It's not all about one hero. Last game was all about the mag, and this game they've got a lot of ways to win.
Yeah, this way they've got plenty more options here. Clockwork actually a really nice ban from RoX.KiS, because that's sort of the one gap for NEXT.kz, some sort of an offlaner here. Maybe they even want to go for something like a Nature's Prophet. If they want another potential playmaker hero, if you get a fast Shadowblade on him, he can set up a lot of kills, he can do some decent damage and act as sort of a secondary source of damage. RoX.KiS themselves, they've got the offlaner, they need their solo mid hero, they need something for BZZ in that mid lane.
Yeah, curious to see how they're going to round things out, and I was impressed overall with how well they played, considering they've got a new member in Tron, and they also have a stand-in in Nexus, but it felt like more or less the same old RoX.KiS. I don't think Nexus is Dread. I could be wrong, but they're without like sort of the heart and soul of their team, and they're still making things happen.
Yeah. It's some other Russian player. I think I've seen him play for some of the old like Team Empire back when they weren't the current Team Empire and some other teams, but they're doing fine without him. So
it's impressive.
It's a good sign for them. VP could not share the same fortune when they were playing with a standard against a arguably tougher team in IC Cup, but we'll see if NEXT.kz can capitalize here in game number 2. They've got one more pick to go, as do RoX.KiS, and it's an OD.
Wow, this is a lineup with a lot of damage. The supports have damage, be it Soul Catcher, which gives your teammates more damage. Gyro, one of the burstiest carries in the game. Darkseer, even Ion Shell hurts a lot. Laguna Blade, OD. Also, he is fantastic against illusions, so could be really useful to blow up the Spectre, haunt illusions. If Spectre falls behind, could easily fall prey to that, and they'll get an OD versus Puck matchup mid, so that should go their way. Their tri-lane, Shadow Demon Lina Gyro looks to be, it could go aggressive, and I think it would do pretty well against Nyx, Spectre, Visage, and then Darkseer 1v1 maybe against Doom. All of these lanes look very strong for RoX.KiS.
Yeah, I definitely like these laning setup coming out from RoX.KiS. If Darkseer gets a 1v1 matchup, he generally wins it. I remember the one game we saw the Darkseer versus Doom matchup in one of the Chinese tournaments. I think it was Rattlesnake in the TI3 qualifiers ran a safe lane Doom against the Darkseer, and it actually worked out, but AUI, I know, at least seemed to think that Darkseer didn't play it as well as he could, and Doom also got lucky with the level 6 Satyr at level 1. So it's something they could do, but I don't think you want to send Spectre anywhere except the safe lane tri-lane. And
RoX.KiS know that. And whether they run a safe lane Gyro and then run a Darkseer tri-lane, or a tri-lane Gyro and a safe lane Darkseer, that's the other option here, is you could run Gyro in that lane, and nobody's going to match up 1v1 particularly well against him. So, with that being said, let's introduce our teams. On the Dire side, we've got RoX.KiS. They've made a roster change. They do have a stand-in. Dread is not with them. The heart and soul of that squad, but nonetheless, they look strong in Game 1, and they now lead the best of 3, 1-0. It's Nexus handling the Gyro, or rushing early Tranquil Boots. He's heading towards the bottom lane. Tron, not Tipo, I've gotten the pronunciation right. Thanks for that, God. So he'll be playing the Darkseer. Vangscore on the Shadow Demon. Sentries, as well as Smoke picked up. BZZ is perfect on the Outworld Destroyer, and Yol, not to be confused with YOLO, playing the Lina.
I'm going to be quick here, so it looks like it could be an engagement. Equal playing the Nyx Assassin. We've got Puck in the hands of What a Fucker. Manta on the Spectre. Reeves playing the Visage, and then finally Doom being played by Stalcat. Things about to go down, though.
Oh, no. This could be bad. BZZ is perfect, is leading the way. Both teams have spotted each other out, and it looks like we won't actually have a clash in the end. They are now spread out. NEXT.kz they are not in a good position to take a level 1 engagement. And truth be told, against this lineup that RoX.KiS have, you do not really want to fight at level 1. Puck is a crappy level 1 hero. Spectre is crap at level 1. So too is Doom. They just want to get some, well, they want to get back to their tower in safe condition, and it looks like they will.
Yeah, there's a very aggressive ward placed by Lina in the Radiant jungle, so it looks like we will see the makings of an offensive tri-lane. And two very useful wards here. Blocks the sort of medium camp pull, which will give Brewing Vision, as well as scout some of these heroes in crucial ways. And it's like you mentioned, Gyrocopter can win against almost anyone in that safe lane, and they send Darkseer to the tri-lane.
I like this a lot because you run a Gyrocopter safe lane, and we're actually really going to have an engagement. I thought Equal would just back off, but he's committed to it. He eats Ion Shield damage to the face. He will go down. Well, he could have just gone for one auto attack and backed off, but he really forced that. That was just sloppy.
They tricked him into thinking it was an off-lane Darkseer. What am I talking about? Darkseer contested the room with him, and he didn't realize Shadow Demon Lina was still there. I think he was assuming it was a tri-lane top, but Shadow Demon Lina are actually going to start roaming. I think we may see a smoke. I think going to gank mid, they're going to gank bottom. We'll have to wait and see.
It's a Puck mid, OD there, not a great killing lane. I think they'll head bottom, and if you can kill the Spectre early, that would be huge. Even killing a support, you get boots on both of yours. Reeves is busily trying to D-ward. There is an Observer Ward south of the camp. Does this? I guess this actually blocks it. And this is the Sentry Ward nerf really coming into play. But Mantis, he'll be in a lot of trouble if he gets caught here. There's boots available for somebody. No, it's Darkseer, who's gotten the early.
You use them as bait. They're not really. It's not really a smoke gank. It's more like a defensive smoke to sit behind Darkseer until they engage. So here we go. They go in on the Spectre. Can they kill him off? They get a bit more damage here. He's going to try and drop down a spell or two. But Mantis survives on about 20 HP.
Can they turn this around?
Style Shield procs.
Wow, that's a great 2-hero Laguna, but still Shadow Demon a bit too close. He gets Surge back. The beauty of this Darkseer tri-lane. I love the fact they're running it with him. Equal. Oh no. Ion Shell on Lina. That Lina really hurts. This is clowny. This is silly. This is your Corsair Summer Tour. Y'all's gonna find the kill. What a play. And for NEXT.kz, off to an equally abysmal start in game number 2 as they were in game 1.
Yeah, 2-0 very fast here. Manta already using a lot of his regen. Had to salve up and shoot through almost all his tangos. He will in just a second probably use this last tango of his. So he'll be begging support heroes for regen, which they have a little bit of here and there, but for the most part, this trial lane going very, very poorly.
What do you know? Another haste for Vank score. Why the hell not? He's going to send something out on the courier. It will be a Soul Rain recipe. Nope. He spent his gold. I guess it's a pair of Observer Wards.
He's going all the way back to heal. Interesting choice. Maybe
only level 1.
Another smoke gank with Lina.
Yeah, he's a bit under level, despite the fact that they're finding all these kills. I guess the thing is, now Tron is nigh unkillable, I feel, in this tri lane. Early on, at least. Top lane, we're going to have aggression from Stallcat. He's diving Nexus. The early teleport from one support to turn this around. There's your Rocket Barrage. The Light Trigger will spell his doom. Nexus, with a little help from his friend Yol, finds the kill. Not a whole lot of help, though. That was about the bare minimum. No stun, just throws out the nuke. Almost caught Nexus. Cost Nexus his life, but in the end it doesn't.
The bare minimum coming out from Lina, but it was needed. Gyrocopter was going to lose that man battle. It was a nice salve up, actually. The salve being used in the Scorcher didn't actually cancel it, not doing enough damage, so...
Yeah, great use of Fog of War as well. Tangoing through the trees and able to stall a little bit longer.
Gyrocopter already back up to full HP. He's gone for fast Tranquil Boots, and all 3 lanes looking pretty good for RoX.KiS. OD at mid lane, not many heroes he's going to lose to.
This is systematic. They're going to place...
Oh, whoa. Puck has 1 CS.
Yeah. This is a very hard matchup, to be fair, but you should be able to get more than 1 CS just by spamming your orb on creeps.
Yeah, it looks like that's where he's got his 1 CS from. He's out of Puck, so...
BZZ has 94 damage. Motherfucker has no orb to get away, but Yol unable to quite get in position here. I believe he was spotted. Bottom lane will have another engagement. That's an impale, but Tron, he surges away. There's no follow-up stun. They can get away with these dual lanes. There is really nothing NEXT.kz can do to punish it. Not at this point. Tron level 5, Soul Rain as mentioned. Now he'll be close to his next regen item if he'd like. They're just getting, once again, so much more off the map compared to NEXT.kz. Same story as game 1, pretty much.
Yeah, the level 1 impale's the only stun they have, and at level 1 it's 1.27 second stun.
I actually panicked and went to Mantis, but it's top lane where they've gone in on Stallcat. They'll bring him down with the Rocket Barrage. Nice Light Strike array from around the tree line, secures the kill. Mantis is almost dying to creeps. I mean, this
Shadow
is...
Demon has a DD root. They're going in at bottom lane.
Great impale by Vank score. Is it going to be enough? However, there's your Mono Burn. Equal takes 1 for the team, and the Soul Assumption turns the fight around. And Mantis is low. Tron is thinking, maybe I can kill these fellas, but not going to go.
Triple kill time. Iron Shell up. Go surging in. Come on, Tron. Here comes Lina. Here comes Yol.
Oh, no. Oh, my God. He didn't realize he was spotted, and that's rather unfortunate.
Yeah, just creep wave. I think they probably think there's a ward behind the tower, but that was just the creep wave giving vision.
Yeah,
and Lina's going to pull the creep wave to the no neutrals, but just going to pull this creep wave, almost half of it.
And the thing is, not only can they find kills, but with Darkseer here, they can push early, which means Spectre might lose his tier 1 bottom. And Spectre is always that hero who struggles to find farm. He's not a flash farmer. He's not actually that escapable compared to heroes like Anti-Mage. They'll go in on top, though. He's rotated. He said, screw that lane. I'm a ganking. There's your cooldown. Desolate damage is bringing Nexus low, but that cooldown's going to hit both with both attacks. He's still on the run. He's actually doesn't have any gold, but he is going to die to the next level death. Great little play there. I feel if he had a drums there, or even just his bracer, something, he might have been able to turn that around.
I think he could have just ran. I think he got a bit too cocky there, thinking,
that as well.
I can pull off some Wodota moves. He could have, when the cooldown hits twice, it's like an 80% slow or something ridiculous. 70% total slow. The first one's 50%, you get 20% from the next, so he could have just ran.
They're brutal. They are absolutely brutal, bottom lane. Disruption is there. Now the surround, it's perfect, and Reeves, no way out. He throws out a futile Soul Assumption. He's mad about that one, I bet, but in the end, he falls too. We now take our first look at the gold graph, the experience graph, and I should not have done that. Already a 3,500 gold and experience lead for RoX.KiS. This is too easy.
They're making it look very, very easy here against NEXT.kz. NEXT.kz, they just don't really have a clear strategy in mind. Their drafting, I feel like, has just been inferior to what RoX.KiS have thrown at them. just looking at all these lanes, it's lanes which RoX.KiS are winning, individual skill aside, teamwork aside, and then even when you go further and you start looking at those aspects, RoX.KiS are just playing like a very well-oiled machine here. They've got great synergy with each other, even with the stand-in. They've actually put the stand-in just in a solo.
They have to. They'll go in mid lane. There's your Haunt as well. They're diving BZZ, but that prompts a double teleport reaction. And Stallcat says, I am going for it. That is probably a low percentage play. He eats a Light Striker right to the face. Now gets disrupted. That buys time for the LSA to cool down again. And this doesn't look good. Body blocking by Yul. Really making this one look easy. Another Dragon Slave is available. BCC making this harder than it needs to be with that Astral, but he wants to kill for himself. It still goes to Yul. He says, I earned this. I'm taking it. And he will. They really feel desperate, but the more they press, the more they make mistakes, and the more RoX.KiS continues to pull ahead.
Nothing's working out. They're going to lose Mantis as well, mid lane. Spectre. Oh, Sanity's Eclipse. All you need.
I don't know what to say about that. That was painful to watch, though.
Maybe they can kill Darkseer? I don't think so. Well, actually,
maybe.
Impale's time with the Surge nicely, but it's a level 2 Surge, so that extra duration will help get out of there, and even without it, I think he would have been fine.
That level 2 Surge is magic. It's like just the right amount of flavor, the right amount of spice to keep him safe. And I guess, guys, the question is where would the comeback come from for NEXT.kz? If they were to mount one, it feels very remote, but what do they look towards here? What should their game plan be? They've started off horribly, but they're not GG'ing yet, so how are they going to come back if they want to, or if they're able to?
It seems to mostly have to come from just some individual players like the Puck, who's going to be the biggest playmaking hero, but we're just seeing Lexi look to go next to the top lane for the second time. Next is under a lot of firepower. He's trying to fight back onto the Spectre, and he's winning that.
Oh my god.
They get the gyrocopter, but at a very heavy cost.
I think it's time to say at what cost. At what freaking cost. That is not a good trade. 2 cores for the gyro, who honestly is not even really... I feel like he's not the carry this game. The carry is probably going to be this OD, who already has an Ogre Club and is off to a beastly start. And they're diving in top lane. They want to make it go on Stallcat.
Just want this to Light Striker ain't not going to land, which is what they needed here. I'd love to see Lina just like pick up some phase boots or something just to help land these stuns.
He's got Doom, but unfortunately, well, there's no mana to support it right now. Haunt comes in again, and they look to go one more time onto the breach. Tipo, or rather Tron, damn it, I screwed it up. On the run, I think he gets away here. There's your Astral to keep him safe. What a fucka. Not going to be so lucky. Orb forward. The orb will hit Yul, but now it's Mantis, his turn to die. Just a meat grinder. Just an absolute meat grinder.
Well, yeah, Darkseer, I don't know how he survives. Obviously, the mech and then the Surge just at the right time coming up, and he gets out of there miraculously. Everything is going the way of RoX.KiS. At this point, it's 9 minutes in, and you have a Shadow Demon alone at level 4 in the off lane. That's when you know you're just so far ahead. You can put a hero like a Shadow Demon solo off lane at level 4.
He's actually sadly underleveled, considering that the score is 12-3. 0, 1, and 5, but has not really gotten any creep experience yet.
Yeah, it's the Lina who's been involved in all these kills and actually in experience range. Shadow Demon maybe gets an assist, but some of the time he's not even in XP range because he just pops the disruption and has to run away. But Lina is level 8.5.
It's not a 4 and a 5. It's a 6 and a 3.5, I feel. They'll go in on bank score now. Doom is online. They will Doom the Lina. That's a nice target to choose, but I don't think they can get both kills here. Yul actually mech back up. It could be surged away if necessary. There's your nuke from the Doom. Once again, Stallcat's going to force it. There's your deny. He's been thwarted again. Now Mantis is coming in. He thinks he can find a kill. There is no disruption. The stick charges get popped. The Surge. They're baiting this so well. He's still diving. He doesn't have a TP. This is going to go the other direction, I feel. One more auto attack. He does get the kill. Spectre suiciding at 11 minutes to kill off a Shadow Demon. I don't know what to say. That is not exactly worth it. I think that's Russian for what the hell, man. What the hell?
I think it's like some Russian smiley face. I don't know, but that was my thoughts exactly in smiley face form.
It was a T_T for sure.
Yeah,
he was pretty sad.
T_T.
There's some tears right there being shed right there, and they're going in top. They're gonna find equal disruption, soul catcher, call down as well. He'll pop a carapace, but too many nuke damage, too many instances of damage. Hits the 2-hero impale. Haunt comes through, but if Spectre comes in here, I feel he'd probably die.
I was hoping he'd die for the Shadow Demon again. Just do it twice in a row out of spite.
It worked so well last time. Why not?
Yeah. Maybe not. Puck, here we go. It's as you asked, how do they come back? It's got to be Puck. He's the playmaker. Nyx Assassin maybe when he hits level 6 can set up kills, but Puck and Nyx need to be so active and just gank. Give space for Spectre to get some farm. He's got phase boot Spectre, but he needs a lot more than just phase boots.
And BZZ is perfect, is just parked in this middle lane. Normally you run an OD mid, at some point the enemy team will try to gank you, especially when they have a Puck, a Spectre, and a Nyx. Even a Doom. They'll coil him now, but he of course can Astral himself. He chooses to Astral somebody else. They go in on Mantis. There's your OD ult. He wants to fight his way out of this one. Mech is deployed, and the vacuum could be coming any second now. Has not dropped it yet, does it, and gets the Puck. Stallcat to fall as well. Throws off a Doom. This should be a deny. This is the most...
Start, like, denying it really early.
This is the most spiteful Dota I have ever seen.
Disruption? They blocked all the Doom damage.
Oh, it's not even gonna happen. Nothing. Nothing. This is what
they counter.
This is what NEXT.kz get for their spiteful play.
More Russian smiley faces. That's the equivalent of XD, I'm pretty sure. Capital X, capital D. Yeah. We're learning Russian smiley faces, LD.
And only the first day of the Corsair Cup. Who knows what other languages we'll muddle our way through by the time this is done. Actually, Stallcat
can learn some French. I guess there's action guard.
Yeah, I guess there's kills. Do we have to cast these? That's what you're saying. That's what I hear in your voice is, oh, do we have to cast these fights?
I just want to talk about multiculturalism inside Dota 2 LD.
Well, the only thing I know is there's only one type of server, and it's Russia. There's Russia US East, there's Russia US West, there's Russia China,
Australia.
Yeah, Russia Australia. That is honestly one of my favorite memes ever. I love that one so much. It's kind of unhealthy.
Well, this is the actual Russian group. Obviously, not all teams from Russia. NEXT.kz, I believe they're all from Kazakhstan.
Yeah, it's kind of in that awkward transitional area between Asia and Russia. That's always a fun debate.
IC Cup, a mixed Russian and Ukrainian team, but it's all CIS teams, I guess.
I believe they have some players from Belarus as well.
Yep.
So,
that's true.
Yeah, like you said, CIS for the most part. We're learning geography. I probably couldn't point out Belarus on a map, though, to be totally honest. I know the general region.
Eastern Europe is all you need to know, I think.
It's one big country. Equal, under cover of Vendetta, is going to look to start a fight here. He's got Vendetta. He'll hit 2. It's a good start, but the problem is the cooldown hit 3. 2 cooldown procs. This is not going their way. Now BZZ joining the fight. A double familiar stun, but the stuns were stacked a bit. And we will most likely see Stallcat fall. Will he throw out a Spiteful Doom? Not this time. You know he was thinking about it, though. They didn't even bother to drop a coil there.
I think he realized after the fail last time with all the banish saves that it's like, okay, I don't want to embarrass myself again.
NEXT.kz, they don't drop out of the tournament if they lose this game. For anyone just tuning in, it is game 2. RoX.KiS, as you can see at the top, is leading 1-0. If they take this game, they will move on to play IC Cup tomorrow in the winners bracket finals. It's GSL format for the groups, meaning if you win 2 best-of-3s, you advance. If you win 2 in a row, I should say. If you lose 2 games, you get knocked out, basically. And 2 teams will be eliminated from this phase. And right now, NEXT.kz looks by far like the weakest of the 4 teams we've seen so far today.
Oh, yeah. The other 3 teams seem to be the teams competing for those 2 spots. We'll see if NEXT.kz have anything to say about it bottom lane. Surge out helps BZZ keep himself alive, and they're ready to take this fight. They've got BKB up, they've got Limit ready to go. Here we go, Doom onto the OD, but he's already popped off the BKB. Not the best time to go in on him, and Laguna Blade gonna almost blow up Reeves on the Visage. Gyrocopter drops a cooldown, they're trying to bring down Lena, but Gyrocopter Nexus just doing too much damage. OD on the background actually gets brought down. Spectre, once again, diving for these kills, this time though, not at the cost of his own life. Now he's even gonna go into the Darkseer, Surge away, Mantis doing some decent damage. NEXT.kz, not a good fight, but not a terrible fight.
He might find Alina here. This could be an okay engagement for them. The Familiar is scouting things out. The aerial support's there.
Easy.
Unfortunately, the Disruption's available, but Equal, it's going to run him down. The Familiars find the kill, and now we return to the other side of the engagement, where it'll be a surge forward. A beautiful Impale. Clips, too, and I can't believe it, but Mantis just ran back into that instead of trying to escape. I guess he figured the Darkseer had him. It looked good. That was about as good of an engagement as NEXT.kz could possibly get. You know, they get the 2-hero Dream Coil. They Doom OD. The damage does go through BKB. It is universal damage, I believe. So in spite of the fact that he had the BKB up, still was dropping low. Ended up going down. Couldn't use his orb during that fight. Couldn't astral himself. They also managed to drive the Darkseer off the engagement. They find a couple of backline supports. The 2-hero Impale there near the end. Again, a perfect fight or close to it, but when you are down 14,000 gold at 16 minutes, perfect doesn't even cut it.
There's no perfect way back in this game. There's only RoX.KiS throwing away this giant lead of theirs. Everything is in RoX.KiS's hands as far as the outcome of this game goes from here on out. They're not looking like a team though that's going to give it away. They'll have a bit of fun throughout and have a few laughs as we've seen, but they're not going to throw away this game.
And NEXT.kz, they may be playing more today. We may see more of this team. But they will find BZZ's perfect top. Doesn't have a 4-staff. He's got a BKB. I'm not sure if it's even worth popping at this point. In comes your Gyro. He's got the Shadow Blade. Goes to work. The damage being split fairly evenly. They're still chasing this OD. Where's the disruption? They pop the mech. He BKBs out as well. And it looks like they want to fight. Spectre will haunt south. Tries to escape. And will be able to do so. But they just dove the crap out of this OD. And in the end, couldn't actually kill him.
Yeah, that was painful to watch when they're throwing so much at him. It was great how he saved the BKB. He knew he didn't need it until the next Nyx Assassin Impale was up. It's got a longish cooldown, and he just waited for it. And then once Nyx Assassin was ready to Impale again, he pops it, dodges it, and well, he gets out of there. Great individual play, but at this point, it's even if they kill him off, it's not going to be the turnaround NEXT.kz need. They're on the run at mid lane.
Yeah,
they just can't push a single tower on the map.
Oh, and this is the death of Mantis, for sure. No, it's the death of the Courier. Instead, Nexus, he'll be spiteful as well. He kills off the Courier. They had trouble killing it last game. This time around, shouldn't be a problem. Nice Soul Assumption mid. Clips the OD, and the chase is on. They've got a Doom for the Selena. The stuns are there. They do bring her down. Is RoX.KiS actually starting to fall apart in this game? There's your missile. Great deny from Nexus. Prevents the Doom kill. Now he's surrounded by familiars. He tries to fight his way out. He'll go down as well. Where is the rest of the team? No teleport on Tron. He's just arriving at the fight. BZZ, I believe he just fought back for this. He did. Won't be able to do a thing. Meanwhile, the other question is, where's your Shadow Demon? He's just leaving the fountain. Now has a TP. Opts not to use it. I feel like they're trolling or AFK, but in the end, they do clean up the Nyx.
They do. NEXT.kz, they surely can't re-engage here. Pug's just arrived here. He's full HP in mind. Doesn't have a Dream Call. I don't know. They're just sort of poking around in the mid lane. They're not going to make much more of it. But at RoX.KiS, a bit of unnecessary engagement there. They lost a bit more than they were hoping for. But once again, NEXT.kz still pretty far behind. The one thing, I mean, 15,000 gold lead, but RoX.KiS as far as CS goes, like 20 minutes in, no one's really breaking the 100 CS mark. NEXT.kz aren't terribly far behind as farm goes, but then they've got no map control, they've got no good item progression, they're not holding onto their towers. Still nothing like a Blink Dagger on this park.
I do just want to point out, we've had 40 kills in under 90 minutes. That's over 2 kills per minute. And this is RoX.KiS Dota. This is your classic Russian Dota. Constant aggression, constant slaying, nobody bothering to farm. Of course, it does hurt RoX.KiS a bit in the late game department. They probably could have won this game by now, or at least been taking the outer towers if they were just playing it safe, going Ferocial a lot earlier, getting a gem, and playing more conservatively. But now they'll go for Roche. And after they get this, they'll have a BKB on the Gyro, more or less. And I think the next fight, oh, there's your gem, by the way, on the Courier. The next fight is going to be way harder for NEXT.kz.
Next fight, RoX is on the they'll just be more organized. It won't be one of those haphazards, oh, one of our heroes who we weren't really watching his game. They'll be grouped up as 5, trying to just end the game. We have been seeing two kills amazing what we're getting in the first 2 matches as well, between VP as well as Icy Cup. It was some constant aggressive Russian Dota. That's probably been the one highlight of today, especially that game 1, which was your typical game of throws as of late. But
you know, the one thing that was interesting to me, I got a chance to catch just a small amount of the action. I was trying to learn the production equipment and get everything set up for today, but I'm surprised that VP gave away CK Wisp 2 games in that series, or at least they gave away the Wisp 2 games. I didn't see it was the CK Wisp both.
The last game they banned CK and then gave away, like they first banned CK and gave away Wisp.
I feel like you just banned Wisp there, but here we go. BZZ, he pops his BKB, the Doom comes out of Nexus, they don't bother with the OD because he doesn't have his ult, and I guess they know it. This is actually going alright for them, but a defensive Astral, the inability to kill this team is kind of insane. Now BZZ on the run, Aegis deployed. Spectre's gonna haunt in. He's found Vankskor, who promptly disrupts. Soul Catchers has a gem. If he falls here, this will be huge. Impale's gonna connect. He's gonna lose a gem. Is this actually coming apart at the seams? RoX.KiS are losing way too many engagements here. Giving up a gem, giving up an Aegis. Laguna Blade from Yol tries to equalize matters. Now Whatafaka on the run. He may be falling soon. He's got an orb. He sends the orb one way, his hero the other. Tron got the scent. The TP out from the low ground. Back, not available. Needs one auto attack or an Ion Shell burn. Can't get it in time. And they get out. They did lose their Spectre again.
Tron showed up very late to that fight. He was farming creep waves at bottom lane a good 10 seconds after the fight began. And
They're all doing that. That happened last fight too in the mid lane.
Yeah. It's some dubious calls coming out from RoX.KiS. Not that they really matter right now, but it's giving NEXT.kz hope. And NEXT.kz, they're behind by 15 kills, but if you look at this goal graph, it's sort of flattened out the last 6-7 minutes, at least somewhat flattened out, as much as it can flatten out, I guess. And NEXT.kz are finding a few openings here and there to at least get an item or two here and there. RoX.KiS is still getting more items themselves, but NEXT.kz, they're getting a bit tankier.
They are, and they do have a lineup that does a lot with fairly minimal farm. Spectre, as far as carries go, sure, needs farm more than supports, but doesn't need as much farm as some other heroes, like Anti-Mage, perhaps, to compete. Can really get by with the Diffusal Blade, a Vitality Booster, those cost-effective, cheap items. Of course, still has to farm those. Here we go, though. Top lane is going to be an engagement. Nexus drops a missile, not going to throw out a cooldown. Going onto that Carapace is a bit dicey. The missile will be focused by the tower. It'll get blown up. And at long last, gods, they've grouped up, and they've grouped up as 5, and I feel well, sorry, excuse me. Lena's going for a backstab. Hasted Yol, juking through the trees, weaving and bobbing, looking for an opening. Can he solo kill somebody here? He's looking to go. Any second now, he could strike. They have no idea that he's here, or if they do, they're just playing coy. And, well, he'll head mid instead. He wants to make a solo kill happen on Mantis. That won't connect. Now Vankskor scouting out Reeves in the jungle, but it's actually going to be a purge on equal. And now BZZ jumps in. There's your coil. Catches 4. Haunt to fly as well, but an OD ult instantly wipes out the Spectre illusions. Stallcat comes in. Laguna to the face. Pew, pew, mother effing pew. Now Reeves on the run. Nexus giving chase. He might die for this one. Brings him low. Tosses out the missile. The dagger's going to fly, and he needs to back off. He doesn't have the help he needs. He's going to drop. He overextends. He gets greedy. He will take a fall. Now, Whatafaka next in line. 1 for 1 in that final trade. But, end of the day, it's only a 3 for 2. It still doesn't look good for NEXT.kz, but it could be so much worse. Well, maybe now it gets worse. Mantis in trouble. Lena tries to man up, or get aggressive, I should say. And in the end, not able to find the kill.
That. So it's kind of a 3 for 3. It's still RoX.KiS playing a bit sloppy, but I think it's sloppy because they know they're ahead. They're just having a bit of fun here and there. But they get a tier 2 tower. They're getting further ahead in the least efficient way possible, I feel, but it's still getting further ahead.
And they got the tower, like you said. That's really the big thing. Also, the next Roshan is going to be, I feel, a lot more important than the first one was. I would like to see them just play safe. They don't need to dive and force these fights quite so much. They had a good engagement. They come out on top 3-2, then they chase for kills, and they pay. It's unnecessary deaths from RoX.KiS. Against a better team, this would get punished more, and I guess they just feel, well, against a better team, we wouldn't do this. BZZ bottom lane could be in trouble, but Vendetta strike to start. Now the Impale to follow. Didn't bother starting with the Impale. Slow on the BKB was the OD. Have to react very quickly to get out of that. Wasn't able to. It does go down.
Yeah, it's really the one way back in the game for NEXT.kz. Is get pickoffs using Puck, using Nexus Sense. They're kind of getting them right now. It's a death on a hero like OD at this point. That's a level 16 hero giving away a lot of XP and farm, so it's not helping RoX.KiS's cause here as far as ending the game, going to bed as early as possible.
Yol's gone in, he blinks, he stuns, and now it's up to Shadow Demon to pop his stick. He'll disrupt. That will be a dead Doom. Not going to even have time to throw out a retaliatory Doom because he dies too damn quickly. But Mantis finds some time to farm, and he's so poor that he's decided he's going to go Blade Mail. Not Diffusal Blade. Honestly, though, gods, his Haunt almost does nothing because RoX.KiS are grouped up, and OD drops his ult, and all the Haunt illusions instantly die. So, obviously your late game suffers from this, but I guess the Haunt illusions aren't going to do much anyway. And maybe that's the thought process here.
I feel like it's not an item that adds a whole lot because you have to look at your raw HP. You've got 1100 HP. That's only 1100 damage you can reflect using a blade mail. That's not going to be a whole lot. And a lot of these heroes have BKB, so they're not even going to take any damage from a blade mail. It seems like a really just not very useful item right now to be picking up.
It's not a win. It's not an item for a win, I feel. It's just kind of an item to maybe find a kill here or there. Actually, the Dire Courier does get picked off, but we'll check what happened with that in a second, as it looks like they're trying to dive BZZ. Okay, the Courier had an Urn of Shadows. Well, that's a sad thing for it to die. Died in the jungle, it looks like. Must have been sniped off. Meanwhile, top lane, they've dove. BZZ is perfect. Still has his BKB. He could turn this around. On the backside of Deal, Brainy what a fucking low. The Haunt comes in, and they are spreading out a little bit here. Purge deployed, isolating Reeves. The OD jams it in, but they worked really hard to get that kill. Another 1-for-1. I'm just in awe that RoX.KiS can't just take clearly advantageous fights and come out on top. But
every team fight is 1-for-1, 2-for-2, or like last fight at top lane, 3-for-3 trade. Maybe RoX.KiS get a tower as well, but in this case they hold on to their tower, but they're not good trades that RoX.KiS are finding. When they're this far ahead, they should be winning team fights clearly, and they may be even going to lose Darkseid here.
He could surge. He's going to surge south. Is there a stun? Nyx, stun available. Doom deployed. They clip him at max range. Now the dagger comes in, and the chase is on, and boy, will he drop in a hurry. Gyro comes in, gets another deny. That is the one thing Nexus has been doing like clockwork this game. Oh, boy.
Yeah. He had the one earlier at mid lane. Now he gets this one right in front of NEXT.kz's noses, and that's really frustrating, because those are the kind of kills that NEXT.kz are kind of banking on to help them out.
This is real. This game feels so clowny. OD has gone for, I mean, not a clowny item in the Lincoln Sphere, but we're returning to talking about the game, I suppose, and it'll help him a bit against the Doom, the Nyx Impale. Of course, you can still level Death and then Doom, but it does take a little bit of extra time to cast those two. Maybe he can get out of range in time. He'll eat an Impale and pops the BKB as well as the Lincoln's proccing. Not ideal, but I guess it's probably a 4-second BKB now anyway. Indeed it is.
The one good news about the 4-second BKB, it's got this super short cooldown. He is going to get jumped on mid lane. Once again, it's just sort of teasing damage, but you get the shortest cooldown possible with the BKB. Having just 50-second cooldown can mean you can just spam it whenever you feel you're in danger, and then just wait for it to come off cooldown.
Yeah, the duration gets really low, but like you said, the big thing is, in some ways it's better in this type of a ganking game. If it's a team fight game, then you want the 10-second BKB very badly, but instead it's got a 40-second cooldown, uses it whenever he likes. They'll go in bottom lane. Mantis, however, he'll work his way through the trees here and should be able to path out. He barely makes it over the tree line. He will escape. He's up to 2,300 gold. As crazy as it sounds, I feel like going for a Radiance would actually be great this game, because that would allow him to farm and get back into it. And if it goes late enough, RoX.KiS have gone for mid-game items. Lincoln Sphere on the OD, BKB Tranquil Boots on him, the Gyro BKB Shadow Blade. There is nobody who is god-tier status level of farm. If he goes for a farming item and they don't end the game in the next 10, 15 minutes, I mean, even 10 minutes, I feel, it might be too late. But, well, he picks up an Overclub, maybe Sanjay Yasha, maybe a BKB.
Yeah, even Puck, Blink Dagger came up and then suddenly he's got an ultimate off. So this Puck is... He's caught up from having one CS at like 5 minutes in the game against the OD, and I think RoX.KiS are looking at Roshan respawning in just a minute now. They'll try and grab that and then look to take a team fight, which they actually can win for once.
Last time we saw them group up as 5, it was top lane, and it was the same advantage, but a bigger relative difference, as NEXT.kz had less total gold relative to RoX.KiS. In the end, well, will go for that Rosh. They should be able to take it unopposed. And then we'll have to see, what do they look to do beyond that? Mantis continues to farm bottom lane, and I feel NEXT.kz can't really contest this, but I say that, and if they hit a perfect coil and have a good haunt, maybe they can.
I'd love them to take Roshan, give the Aegis to Gyro, and then pick up Divine Rapier. That's how they could end the game. It's a pretty safe option as well, getting the Divine Rapier with an Aegis there. Having the damage from the Divine Rapier is what they need to actually breach the high ground and prevent NEXT.kz from engaging on them. NEXT.kz cannot fight into a Rapier like that. He picks up the Demon Edge, so maybe MKB...
This is the safe man's way to build a Rapier. You get the Demon Edge, you can go for something else if you want, but you can also go Rapier if the game feels like it's well within your grasp. It's kind of the boring way to build a Rapier. The fun way is to get the Relic. Then you've cornered yourself. Then you have to go for it. The best way is you
just buy the whole thing at the same time. It's like, you do pull the Mushi and save up 10k gold.
He should totally sell his BKB and the Shadow Blade and just buy it now.
my 2 Rapiers. There we go.
Yeah.
Then we have ourselves a game. But he's killing off these Ancients, so he's showing whether it's an MKB or Rapier, he wants to farm it before they push with this Aegis. They want to get that item up. Although they may look to get this. They may look to just get the tier 2 tower, because that'll give them gold they need for this item, and they can probably get so without having to take a fight.
Here comes your Blink Dagger Nyx. He's rotating towards the middle lane. He's going to find Tron, but they need a little bit of follow-up. Remember, Haunt's available, and fortunately, Tron is running directly into a ganking party. NEXT.kz's entire team is here. They just need an Impale and a Monoburn, and it should be a secured kill. The disruption, a split-second lead. Now a Haunt comes in. Do they look to dive for more? They've isolated a few heroes in the jungle, but the Haunt, I think they thought they needed it to get the kill. They didn't, but hey, not the end of the world. They've only used 2 ults. Haunt has a decent cooldown, but this buys them time to continue farming.
Yeah, I'm surprised they actually used the Doom there, because with the Pug Silence probably would have been enough, but I guess they didn't even want to give him a chance to pop the mech or anything, and easy kill in the end. Tron just running right into them, and it's still NEXT.kz somehow finding these kills, and if anything, they've been finding more kills than RoX.KiS over the last 15 minutes. At one point, RoX.KiS was something like 30 kills to 12, and now we're 35 kills to 22.
Yeah, there were 40 kills in 20 minutes, and like you said, I'm pretty sure 75% of those were on the side of RoX.KiS at one point. Oh, how the tides have turned. If they actually go on to lose this game, we would go to a Game 3. This game seemed like a foregone conclusion. You look at the graphs, and you still kind of feel that it should still be RoX.KiS's game, especially if Gyro gets that next big item. Oh, he's got MKB. Well, I guess they want him. They don't want to throw this game away. If you give a Rapier away, that might cost you the game. They'll go in bottom, though. There's your Dagger on Yol. Blinks away. The Dagger actually giving up the gank. And now Mantis has to beat a hasty retreat, but Nexus is on the chase. He's got an MKB. He won't commit to this. Meanwhile, what a fucker pushing in mid.
See, you can see that NEXT.kz is doing a great job of just applying pressure all over the map and causing problems. Even though they don't kill the Lina, they mess up the gank by allowing Lean to blink away. It's still okay. They put pressure on bottom. They force RoX.KiS to come react, and then meanwhile Puck, he's pushing mid. He's counter in some ways just being annoying, and this is getting him closer to his side device as well. So once we see these items coming up, NEXT.kz aren't in the worst possible position. Mantis is going for an Ogre Club, which
yeah, he's actually had this for a while. He had 2,900 gold. I thought maybe he'd just get a relic. This was around the 29-minute mark, but yeah, I feel like he was thinking BKB, but now maybe he thinks he can get a relic and wait. I don't know. It's going to be a very late Radiance at that point. He could have had one around now.
Bring around a Rosie with the Spectre here in the jungle, but finally here comes the push. They found a way to go towards mid lane.
And they've gotten the lanes pushed out. They don't commit. They're a bit tentative now, halting even. RoX.KiS, you do get the sense that they feel like they can't afford to throw away too many more engagements. This second Aegis, this is the time. The gold graph has been stable for quite a while. They'll go in on the Spectre bottom lane. Blade Mail is online. He could pop it, but I don't think it'll even kill BZZ. Deploys the Blade Mail. Teleports out. There's no Astral. It's cooling down, and he will get away. 5 heroes descending on the bottom lane, but too late to stop his TP.
I thought he would ulti that. That could have been a kill.
Yeah, and OD is tanky enough that the Blade Mail wouldn't have killed him, but decides not to.
I mean, if he was really scared, he pops BKB, but I think just... I mean, it's the 4-second BKB anyways with a 50-second cooldown. He could have... One more auto attack with an ultimate definitely would have got the kill, but even without the auto attack, I think it was a kill. But he doesn't want to use it there. They're going to go for it. They're going to go for a push here, so I guess he wants to save it for a team fight. Knowing Spectre did have buyback, Spectre now with a BKB.
I felt the last push was better for them, though, because that was the bottom lane was not pushed out that far. Now top and mid are both pushing. They're going to lose a tier 2 for this, so they really need to make something happen. There's your Astral, setting up some flat cannon shots, bringing a bit of chip damage on these familiars. Now a BKB from Stallcat. He doesn't have mana for his ult, and it's all going down in a hurry. BZZ is perfect, pops everything. The BKB's already expended. Now the Haunt comes, and the turnaround could begin. The BKB online for Mantis, running away while under cover of BKB. That is simply not ideal. There's still a
once again, NEXT.kz are holding. They just got rid of an Aegis, and they didn't even use Doom for that.
There's still a Doom. That's the only big spell, I guess, is the problem. And Nexus still chipping away at this tower. BZZ is perfect. Feeling rather impotent with this super defensive build. A blanket and Impale catches too. The silence could be here. It will. Nexus gets off his BKB, and now it could be caught on this king. He gets off the flak before being doomed. He starts chipping away at these supports. The Spectre will fall as well. 3 bite the dust. And I think with Astral and Disruption will definitely live. Buyback from Stallcat, but no Doom this time. And at long last, guys, I think just maybe RoX.KiS may have done it.
Yeah, that was the fight we've been waiting for RoX.KiS, but that was a fight I don't even think they played it that well. From NEXT.kz just went charging into the great cooldown coming around from the Gyro, but the Nexus has found a great opening to get a big one off, and now Doom going to take a fall. Puck as well taking a lot of damage. Phase shift can't blink away. He's dead. Buybacks need to come now, or RoX.KiS are going to be taking Raxes.
RoX.KiS, if they take this game, they'll move on into your winner bracket finals for Group A of the Corsair Gaming Summer Tournament. Did I get it right, guys? Are you proud of me?
We're good. It took me a while to figure it out. It took me a lot more games than it took you.
I think I did actually look up the name a few times earlier, because I also was just thinking Corsair Tournament, Corsair Cup. But
I guess the Corsair Cup was what they called the DreamHack tournament that they sponsored. For those
Right.
of you who don't know, Corsair, big shout out to them, big thanks to them for sponsoring this competition. But they sponsored the last 2 DreamHacks, I think it was.
Yeah, they did. Here's your
Not
last
the most recent,
plan.
but the 2 before that.
This could be the end. BZZ is perfect. Man fighting out with Mantis, who's now on the run. Solid Snake's old nemesis. He'll hoof it back to the fountain. Can he get out in time? The Impale is there. BZZ is low. Lincoln's cooling down. He's still alive. The Grave Chill won't be enough, but another blink. A silence as well. And now a jump back out from our Puck. Will live. In comes your Haunt. Has it really cooled down? That is like a 2.5, 3-minute cooldown, but it's online. He's ready to go again. Excuse me, it's a 2-minute cooldown. Now you'll trapped. Blown up, one more auto attack will bring him down. Bankscore tries to TP out, but a level death disrupts it. They're gonna lose nearly everyone. It's a team wipe. RoX.KiS, they got Rax, but it was only a melee Rax, and they lose everything to do it. Wow.
NEXT.kz, it's scrappy, but it's working. They're finding ways to get these kills, find these openings, and win fights. And I think they could have almost held those Raxes if they didn't overextend a bit with their defense. They just went diving a bit too far, thinking they'd maybe had a good fight coming their way, but they've got all these PKBs. Puck back to farming the side of the Vice. A lot of them did have to buy back, including the Puck, that fight to hold, but when you kill off 5 heroes and just lose the 1 melee Rax, considering where NEXT.kz were as far as the gold graph and experience goes, they're 15,000 behind. That's probably about as good as it's going to get for them.
The big thing is Spectre didn't have to buy back. Spectre has 2k gold, and finally maybe we'll see a damage item on Mantis. He's gone BKB Blade Mail. Normally, just getting raw HP on Spectre makes you more survivable. If you want to be more offensive, you can even get a Manta or a Diffusal. I'm really not convinced about this build, especially the combination of those 2 items. But hey, he's got them. Now I think at long last we'll see some sort of damage from him. And if he gets that, RoX.KiS may struggle to take this next lane. I guess the good news is Nexus is 4k gold. He could get a Satanic fairly soon in the next 3 to 4 minutes at this rate. By the way, they do have a Bloodstone on their Shadow Demon. The gold is showing up for them, even though the graph ticks. Not really a common Shadow Demon item. Could get a Force Staff, could get a Ghost Scepter, but no, he's gone Bloodstone.
Oh, just the Soul Booster. He hasn't quite finished the
Excuse me.
Bloodstone. This is one of the items you never see.
Especially
to me,
not on
this is
Shadow
one of the
Demon.
stupidest items in the game. It does nothing.
Tell that to Blitz.
No, it's no Bloodstone's. No, nothing against Bloodstone. It's the actual Soul Booster as an item. It's a recipe item which does nothing. It gives you HP mana.
HP and mana are good, but I mean, you get more bang for your buck with other items generally.
Yeah, you spend 3,300 gold on an item. You expect like Force Staff. It does something. Rod of Atos. You can cast something. I feel like they need to give like a castable spell to the Soul Booster, or at least give it something new. Because right now, Soul Booster only exists to build into Bloodstone. It's a pretty boring item.
Yeah, I'm trying to think it reminds me of some weird item they used to have. You know, it's kind of like Eye of Skady. I hate the build up on that item. I mean, it's a great item when you get it. It's some of the most cost efficient stats in the game, but Ultimate Orbs are really cost inefficient. You can buy drums for less than the cost of an Ultimate Orb and still get nearly the same stats.
Yeah, Eye of Skady is a pain. Soul Boost is even worse though, because it's an actual recipe, whereas Eye of Skady you're all using like non-recipe items. But I don't know.
Well,
I'm a big Soul Booster hater today.
You're a tree hater. You're a Soul Booster hater. I'm not sure Russian Dota is for you.
You don't see many Soul Boosters, okay?
That's true. It has to be one of the least built items. I mean, we used to see more of it back when Storm was a common pick. Like before the International 2, you'd see God Kill Them All go for him a lot, and then Bloodstone was fairly common. In fact, even Leshrac was getting a lot of play. Yamate would often go for an early Bloodstone on his Leshrac, but that was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
The problem with Soul Boost is it's actually the least bought item in the game, because you only get it to go for a Bloodstone, whereas every other recipe item you'll buy on its own. Maybe like some exceptions like a Headdress or something, but It obviously has some build-up, and it's a very cheap one, but I don't know. Enough on Soul Boost 2. I'm pulling a Lumi and just going off topic and ranting about something which is completely unrelated to this game.
We should get you on a cast with Eternal Envy, as well as AUI 2000 Lumi.
I want to know his thoughts on Soul Booster.
I'd love to have a quad cast with you guys and just sit back and watch the chat. Oh, that would be great. There would need to be a tree pick, a Soul Booster, and then pretty much a team that's not stacking camps. That'll get Envy riled up in a hurry. What does Lumi get mad about? What is his shtick? I'm trying to think.
I don't know.
He definitely fires shots. Oh, Pinoy Dota. There needs to be a Pinoy team involved as well.
Pinoy team playing.
And then you would have the most vicious flamecast outside of NA Dota you'll ever see. But here we go. Imprisonment on Wadafuka. Now going to orb away. Should be able to escape. There's your haunt, though. It's going to follow. And they try to find some pickoffs here on the back of that haunt. Spectre giving chase with the illusions. No commitment from the main hero yet. Now a purge. Wadafuka's been caught. No blink dagger available. He picked up the site device. He orbs to the north. He even finds a courier while doing so. Is he going to chase it, or is he going to go for the escape? He blinks away. There is a light trigger. It doesn't land in time. It does not. And NEXT.kz continue to buy some time. They have 3.3k gold on Mantis. RoX.KiS, I feel, are not even closer to ending this game.
They got more blade mails as well. Nick's even with a... I'm surprised they've somehow decided blade mail's a good counter to RoX.KiS's lineup, because they've all got BKBs.
They've also got cheese and Aegis here.
Yeah, you can block prevent Lina from nuking you down, but these heroes will just either not attack you during a blade mail or just pop the BKB and attack you. Blade mail's good on heroes with high HP pools, and then when you're forced to do damage, like I guess against flat cannon it's good, but BKB flat cannon not.
Here comes what could be the last push of game number 2. NEXT.kz, they gotta hold this one. It should have been over 20 minutes ago, but RoX.KiS have made a game of it the wrong direction, unfortunately for them. They've made a game of it for their opponents. Can they finally finish the job? The Impale catches BZZ. Nice defensive disruption. Now a BKB popped by everyone. BKB City, the golden city at that. Mantis comes in, has absolutely no damage, and the gyro with a butterfly and an MKB drives all the supports back, picks most of them off. He'll deny Tron, who probably could have lived. There was an Astral in 3 seconds. There was a disruption already available. Go to the fountain, he says. Nexus, well, he is certainly a feisty one.
Radiant structures.
Yeah, that Darkseer definitely could have lived there.
Radiant's top tower is under
I feel like that's often been the case though. They could live RoX.KiS, but they just choose to go for the kill or just stand their ground and fight. This is it. This is where NEXT.kz have to try and hold this top lane. If they lose another set of Raktas, it's probably over.
They're like cats. They have 9 lives, apparently. Well, BZD's going in, but an immediate... Oh, there's your sight device, actually. Now a jump back in by Yol. He does isolate Reeves, and Reeves might go down again. Yep, there you go. Call down, and now the flat cannon splash, driving Mantis back. 3 heroes again on the sidelines. Only Darkseer dead for his trouble. And at long last, it looks like they may have done it. They've taken the second lane of Rack, so with that, like you said, Gods, I think finally the game.
I really felt like this is one of those games where it's like 15, 20 minutes in, you're like, man, RoX.KiS are playing so well. They're just kind of tearing NEXT.kz apart. NEXT.kz, they just not say die, and they played really well to get back into this game. But losing 2 sets of Raktas up against carries with this much farm, Gyrocopter as well as OD, there's very little they can do.
Yeah, BZZ's in a little bit of trouble here. Here comes Equal. He's got a Vendetta Strike. He's got to get close for a quick Impale. There you go. Actually removes the linkage with the Monoburn. Nicely done. Now the BKB is off. The Haunt is in. Can they kill him in time? There's your cooldown. There's your Gyrocopter. There's your burst damage. And there is another 4 heroes on the sidelines. Well, they made a game of it, but the end is coming, and it's coming very soon. You know, guys, I think for NEXT.kz, the biggest problem is, well, the drafting in Game 1 especially. This game, I do agree with you. I liked the draft up until they picked Doom. I felt like that just weakened their lanes too much. But the drafting wasn't so bad in this game. It's just, you can't die at level 1 like that if you're Nyx. You just can't be so aggressive against the Darkseer. You're not going to solo kill him. And, well, there's that slight chance the supports evading you. They were. He gave up first blood, and it just fell apart from there.
Yeah, their biggest weakness seems to be their early game play, but their mid to late game has been really strong. They've stayed in this game for so long against a team RoX.KiS who have been up by 10 to 15k gold for the longest time. You look at this gold graph and it was like 10 minutes in there was a 10k gold difference. And well, NEXT.kz, they fought and they fought on to make this game drag for this long and even looked like they were close at some points.
And Reeves, he's probably going down here as well. The wall deployed. Even he's not Dota Cinema's Reeves, by the way, although he is dying as much as that Reeves normally does. Equal blinks in, looks for the impale, catches Nexus, the ODO comes out, one last orb to rule them all. GG, well played indeed.
Reeves, man, only 6 stats. I had to check that, but...
Yeah. By the way, Dota Cinema Reeves is awesome. He visited us, and that guy is... I think you were actually in Singapore at the time, but he is really funny. A great guy. But definitely a feeder. Definitely a feeder. At least when Sunsfan is streaming. I think Sunsfan is probably the reason why.
Yeah. He probably brings out the worst Dota.
He's a bully. That's Sunsfan. Oh well. In the end, RoX.KiS, well, a little bit too much. They take this one. I was not particularly impressed. I mean, come on. This team went deep in the Western qualifiers. They can do a lot better than this.
Yeah, they're going to have to do better than this too. They're going to be up against Icy Cup in the winner bracket finals and potentially VP in the lower bracket finals. If they bring this level of play, they're probably not going to make it out of this group, even though they're in the winner bracket finals. Anyways, guys, that concludes everything here for our last match of the Corsair Summer Gaming Tournament. We'll be having a quick break. When we come back, we'll have our last game of today, which is going to be our loser bracket match, a match between... What am I talking about? Between Virtus Pro as well as our loser here, NEXT.kz, guys. So stay tuned. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I'm Gods. He's LD. Be sure to check us out. But for right now, guys, we're going to go into a quick break, and when we come back, our last match of today will be live. See you guys.